Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President Founder of Agile Dad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. It's Tuesday, and it's time for part 2 of how to be an effective Agile coach. This is going to be 6 through 10. If you missed episode yesterday where we talked about 1 through 5, you might want to rewind and go back and listen to that one. These are going to cover the second set of 5 things that you can do to be the most effective Agile coach. And as we mentioned yesterday, some of these things may sound basic on the surface, but if you dig a little deeper, what you'll quickly discover is that these are powerful tips that are going to help you really engage and be an effective Scrum Master or coach. So coming in at number 6 is have courage. Now, it's not just courage to say no, but it's courage to call out problems. What I've discovered is that some changes are a lot easier than other changes to implement. Some things the team is happy to hear that you discovered. They want to solve the problems. But other times, you have to face some tough truths, and you have to ask some hard questions. And I think sometimes we fear what those outcomes might be, and we don't necessarily have the courage we need to ask the questions, nor does the team have the courage to answer the questions if we would ask them. So I think it's important to establish an environment of psychological safety and to create a way for us to be able to have a channel to ask these questions and have meaningful conversation without feeling like we're stepping on the toes of the team or the leadership. Coming in at number 7 is to take time to reflect. Sometimes we feel like we're the person with all the answers. And my advice to you, the best advice I can give you, is resist the urge to just run in guns a-blazing to solve a problem. It's I can't even say it without just getting distracted. I think that taking a step back and reflecting on what the real problem is, or reflecting on what you just saw, or reflecting on how you might handle something, bouncing an idea off of another coach, doing something that's going to give you a fresh perspective or a different angle to look into. Sometimes that helps you, because I think sometimes, even though we have sincere desire to make the team better or to make the organization better, sometimes we come in with cognitive bias, or sometimes we come in with a tainted lens, or sometimes we're pressured to think how the organization wants us to think. So we're in an organizational mode of coaching standard, and we're following that kind of stance, and that could be toxic. We need to make sure that we come in with a clean stance, and that we take time to reflect on what we've seen and what we're doing, and take time to reflect on our approach as well, so we can make sure that we don't have experiments that fail, or if we're stuck, it's going to help us get unstuck. So there's lots of good things there that we want to make sure that we focus on. So coming in at number 8, introduce the elephant in the room. If you know there's something that's holding the team back, and you know they don't want to talk about it, or the team just doesn't talk about it, as their coach or Scrum Master, it's your responsibility to make sure you talk about it, right? You want to make sure you open up. You want to make sure you discuss the issue at hand and let everyone know that you're aware, that you know what's going on, and it's time to talk about it. And I think that for some people, even though it may seem hard, it becomes a sigh of relief for people. And if it's a team member, if it's something that's going on, make sure you handle this delicately, but you need to make sure that you're doing this just right. I've seen some coaches who come in and put all kinds of pressure on the team to get them to talk about things, and that doesn't work. But if you come in and say, I've been there, I've walked a mile in your shoes, I know what's happening. This gives the team an opportunity to start to feel more comfortable around you and start talking about why they're unhappy, or what behaviors they're seeing that don't jive with what they're trying to do, or what information they don't have that could help them be successful. The rule that I have is when you come to a wine and cheese party, you need to make sure you bring both wine and cheese. If someone comes in just whining without any cheese, without any possible potential solutions, it drives you away and gives you discomfort in trying to help solve problems. If you can leverage your sphere of influence to help promote change and let the team know that we're all in this together and that we're all going to be doing it, I think talking about the thing that's the biggest problem is important. It was Mark Twain who said, eat the raw frog first, right? If you start the morning and eat the frog first, then everything else becomes easier. So if there's a change, if there's an elephant in the room, we probably should be addressing the elephant in the room and talking about it. Just throwing it out there. Number 9, frame change as an experiment. instead of coming in and saying, hey, these are the first three things we need to change, it's better for you to come in and say, let's take an approach where we're going to experiment and try something new. I find that when teams and organizations do try certain things, they find that certain things work and certain things work really well and other things don't. And it's okay. If teams understand that the experiment is not a permanent change, but it's taken us a step closer to figuring out what we really need to do, they're willing in the future to make bigger changes and to be ready for what you're trying to do. So I think experimentation is good. And I think that if you take change and look at it as an experiment, it's going to benefit everyone and it's going to help you going forward. And then finally, number 10, you need to adjust your energy to match the energy of the team. Now, Esther Derby and Diana Larson in Agile Retrospectives talk about this quite a bit. They say that if you come in and you're, hey, welcome, trying to get things going, hey, oh my goodness, and the team's not at that energy level, it's just not going to work. Sometimes you need to work on you first before you work on them. And I think that understanding a sense of energy is good. But if the team's always completely low energy and they're in Les Mis mode, look down, don't look them in the eye, you're never going to get anywhere either. So I think it's important for you to encourage, to empower, to uplift, but not come in down by the riverside. If you come in with that kind of attitude, people are just going to look at you and go, all righty then. So I think it's important for you to really understand that you need to master your emotions so that you can be in line with what the team is feeling and experiencing, so that you can have some alignment, right? That's the best way to put it. And I think that if you follow those 10 principles, that you're going to be way better off. So today we talked about having courage and what that means, taking time out to reflect and take a break, take a step outside, look at it, and really figure out what techniques, what standards, what stances are going to help you be where you need to be. Introduce the elephant or problem in a room if you see it. Frame change is only an experiment, not something that's permanent, and go with the energy of the team. And I think that I'm confident, I know that if you do those 10 things, that's going to help you be a more effective coach. And in the end, it's going to help everybody be happy. I hope you enjoyed this 2-part episode of Becoming a More Effective Agile Coach. As always, we encourage you to tune in to agiledad.com, where you can learn more about this topic and many other topics. We hope that you're telling all your friends, subscribe to the podcast. It's 10 minutes or less a day. We're trying to build our listenership. We're doing a good job at this point, but it's not over yet. We're still in the uphill battle part. So if you could help by telling 2 or 3 friends about the podcast, getting somebody interested, and let them tell 2 or 3 friends, I think that we can really make this thing explode and make it a movement, because there's so much great information here, and it's all because of your contributions. So if you have something that you want us to talk about, make sure you ping us and let us know. You can reach out to learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear what your topics are about the things that you want to discuss, and we'll feature them right here on a daily stand-up episode. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.